Hey everyone, welcome back to Literally What. Happy Saturday. I hope all of you had an amazing week. I know for me, I am preparing for all of the Thanksgiving festivities because that literally came up so fast. It's literally next week and I wasn't even processing, and then I was doing my calendar and was like, oh, Thanksgiving's literally next week. So that is coming up very quickly, and we're literally basically in December. I think the next episode of this podcast will be in December, which doesn't even feel real. Like that should be happening because this year just really flew by, even though I say that every year. But the weather for sure is giving December vibes, and I'm so happy because I love the cooler weather, and I'm hoping it stays cold everywhere so that when I go to New York, it can maybe, fingers crossed, snow, because I think that would be just so amazing. But yeah, you guys, this week was a total content TV, finishing up everything on my list, and I have officially completed Only Murders in the Building. If you have not seen it yet, such a good show, but I finally finished season 4, and it was such a great season. I loved how they ended it with the wedding. I was actually like tearing up because I just love Martin Short and Meryl Streep, and I think that their characters together are so perfect. And Jan coming back to finish off the season was just amazing. I am obsessed with her, and I'm glad that they left it off with another murder, so they will be back for a season 5, which is always a good thing because it's just such a good, it's a comfort show and it's funny, but it's also kind of like that mystery, and it still has the cliffhangers at the end, which are really, really fun. Speaking of which, I finally started Tell Me Lies, and I'm addicted. Like, I actually have been binging it every single free second I have, and that always happens with me. Like, I never want to start a new show, even though every single one of my friends has been telling me about it. I see it online all the time about, like, how crazy it is, and I'm not the biggest drama show fan. Like, I love comedies and things like that, but this show is strictly just, like, a drama and a lot of, like, mystery, I guess. And I started it a few days ago. My friend finally convinced me, and I was like, whatever, like, I'll just watch the first episode and see. I'm hooked. It's addicting. It's a great show. I don't know where it's gonna go. There's always, like, just so many questions in my head of what I'm gonna find out next, and it's really, really, really good. It's very addicting. I'm probably gonna finish season 1 today, honestly. So I'm glad I started that. Really, really good. Other than that, I have just, been doing my typical day-to-day routine. It's always good. Like, I swear, if you ever feel like just kind of like blah in the head, get routines down. Just like a morning routine and a nighttime routine. It just helps me feel ready to start my day and then ready to end my day. And I've just felt so much more like grounded. Because I've really just focused on nailing down my routines for the morning and night, and it's just been really helpful. So anyway, been a really great week. Love the weather. And yeah, just ready for all of the holidays and then ready for the next year, which is so crazy to think about. But anyways, that's enough blabbering. So let's go ahead and jump into all the hot gossip, hot takes, stories, and advice that will have you saying literally what? Okay, you guys, obviously this week was the CMA Awards, and we have to talk about it. I wrote down a ton of notes, and it's so funny because I am not a country song lover. Growing up, I never liked country. I never listened to country music, but as I was watching the CMAs, because obviously Post Malone was there were a lot of artists that I wanted to see, Shabuzi, which I'll get into. So I guess for me, I'm more of a pop country girl, and like if it's a country song that's trending online and on TikTok, like I know the song. However, I knew pretty much every single song that was performed at the CMAs this year, except Chris Stapleton's White Horse, I think it was called, song, which we'll get into that as well. But as just like someone like me, I'm very much on TikTok, on Instagram, don't really listen to country music all that often. Just as a watcher of the CMAs, I think the CMAs will always just kind of give out awards to the more leaning more towards old school country and not so much the pop, what's going viral, what everyone in the world is loving. which, was kind of frustrating, and I'll get into it a little bit more, but it was still fun to watch. And I knew, again, like every song that was sung as, performance, it was actually enjoyable, and I liked it, and I knew all the songs. So first of all, love that Post Malone opened with Chris Stapleton with their California Sober song. Just so good. A great way to open it. My guy, Post Malone. And then it just went, I swear, there were so many performances. Like, so many. And I didn't think there were that many awards given out. Like, if I'm looking here, there really weren't that many awards. And I feel like there were 20 plus performances. There were performances from every single person, country-wise. So crazy. But the first award they gave out was Single of the Year. And this was where I was like, okay, I guess the CMAs just stay true to what they know, and they're not going to give it to someone who I think should have won, just based on what I've seen and heard. But Chris Stapleton's White Horse won. And I was shocked because I really thought that Shaboozey's Bar Song was going to win Single of the Year. And that just goes back to my thoughts of the CMAs are just going to give it to someone who's more old school country and not like Shaboozey, who's more like a pop. And I will say I'm excited for, is it the Grammys? Because I know Shaboozey's nominated for like Song of the Year with his song. I truly believe that he needs to win an award, because you can't tell me you don't know what that song is. You can't tell me you haven't heard that song a million times. Like, I think that should have won Single of the Year, but it didn't. And it was also frustrating because even Peyton Manning, like when they were announcing Single of the Year, they literally were talking about how popular a bar song was and how it's been like the biggest hit in a decade. And it's been literally the number one song for 17 weeks. And you're going to give it to Chris Stapleton's White Horse, which I have never even heard of. But again, I'm not a country singer listener, but I was just shocked. Anyway, then Megan Rooney performed, and I need her dress because I was obsessed with her dress. And then we had Shaboozey perform a little mashup. And I was kind of in shock because when you looked out at the audience, like people were standing up and dancing along, but no one was singing the song. And I know that they knew the song. Like, if you don't know the song, you're actually living somewhere without internet and it's under a rock somewhere. Like, everyone knows this song. I didn't understand how no one was singing along to the songs, but whatever. Then we get to Song of the Year, which a bar song wasn't even nominated for. Like, I don't understand. And Chris Stapleton's White Horse won again. I could have also seen I Had Some Help win as well, because again, these are like popular songs that everyone knows, but I guess the CMAs just aren't. I don't know if are CMAs like audience votes or is it like a panel like the Grammys are. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, Teddy Swims, Thomas Rhett performed. They looked so good, performed really well together. I love the song Lose Control. Also, What Happened to Thomas Rhett, because I was obsessed with him in high school, and then I feel like he hasn't come out with anything. Maybe he has, but Luke Combs sang his song from the Twisters movie, which was really, really good. And then New Artist Award went to Megan Maroney. Is it Maroney or Maroney? But I totally agree with that. I think I feel like a lot of her songs do really well, and it's not like a Shaboozey situation where it's kind of like a 1-2 hit wonder. So I'm glad she won that. Kelsey Ballerini performed Manoa Khan. Cody Johnson and Carrie Underwood performed. Casey Musgraves. Just a lot of performances, like really, really good. And then the next award was Vocal Group of the Year, which was Old Dominion. And then Album of the Year went to Leather by Cody Johnson. I know some of my friends who listen to country are going to be like, what is wrong with you? But like, I didn't know any songs on there. Cause again, I don't listen to country music. Just so funny. Then Post Malone performed, and he chose the song Yours, which if you have not heard this song, it's about his little baby girl, and it makes me sob when I first listened to the song when his album came out, like just sobbing, because there's certain songs, especially like father-daughter songs, that there's some that like people always like use at like weddings or like you hear in any like mashup online, like the Cinderella one by, what's his name? I forget his name, but That's Everywhere. And then this song, Yours, came out. I'm like, I feel like this is going to be a song that everyone's playing at their weddings because it's just the lyrics and just everything. It's just so, so good. And he performed it at his concert too. And I was like, please don't, because I'm just going to be sitting there at the concert sobbing. But he performed this song. And you could tell he was kind of nervous too, but like it just, and I was tearing up again when I was listening to it because it's just like the sweetest little song. And like, I can't believe he chose that song. He loves that song though, and he loves Little Girl. It was so sweet. Then we had Jelly Roll perform with Brooks and Dunn, Lainey Wilson, Bailey Zimmerman. He did really, I liked his whole setup. Okay, and then male vocalist of the year was Chris Stapleton. This is his 8th time winning and his 3rd award of the night. So clearly he does very well in the country atmosphere because that was his 3rd award he won. And then female vocalist was Lainey Wilson. Oh, and then entertainer of the year, I didn't finish because it was really long. Like, it was a long CMA Awards, and there was just a lot of singing, but I'm pretty sure it was Morgan Wallen, and he wasn't even there, which was surprising to me. I also thought that Luke Bryan would have won that because I feel like he does really well. I also don't love Morgan Wallen, so, like, whatever. And then Keith Urban, Jelly Roll, sang Liar, which is also such a great song. And by the time I was done watching, I think there were 15 minutes left. So at that rate, I could have missed like 10 different performances. But overall, it was a really great CMAs. I enjoyed it as someone who doesn't listen to country music. But again, I knew all of the mainstream, more country pop songs. So definitely added a few of those to my list of songs to play. And yeah, just overall, really good watch. I did have to watch it the day after because Hulu loves to do that with live stuff, whatever. But even if you missed it, like I would go back just if you like country music and you like any of these performers because it was literally felt like a concert because there were so many performances, which I thought was really cool. So yeah, CMAs, there we go. We're going to hop on in to our next story, which is a follow-up from the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight. And if you remember, Netflix was just not well equipped for, I think, the amount of viewers that it had. And so Netflix has been sued for $50 million over the fight streaming glitches. Because again, if you were watching on Netflix, I was so annoyed because I was trying to watch Jake Paul's over the top, like insane entrance with the car and the song and him like singing the song and then his brother just like shaking the like deodorant spray. And it, of course, Netflix glitched and I couldn't watch it, but it would just glitch at like the worst parts. And it was just like, seriously? But anyway, so it is a Florida man, of course. He filed a class action lawsuit against Netflix over the poor streaming quality that affected millions during the widely viewed boxing match. And he basically alleged that this streaming giant was guilty of breach of contract over the frequent glitches, according to TMZ. And they're seeking damages of at least $50 million. I just, like, whenever I see these lawsuits, to me, it's like these people just have so much time on their hands and they're just trying to get a cash grab, when in all reality, it's just like a waste of people's time and resources, but whatever. According to the lawsuit, Netflix customers experienced massive streaming issues and should have known better because it's happened before and they were woefully ill-prepared. Yeah. Over 100,000 people were complaining online. Boxing fans, along with the average Americans, wanted to see a legend in what would most likely be his last fight, were faced with legendary problems, including no access, streaming glitches, and buffering issues. Which, like, yes, did Netflix mess up? Of course. But, like, do we need to be filing lawsuits over it? Apparently Florida man thinks so. But anyway, we'll see what comes out of that, if anything. But just thought that was kind of funny. Our next story is one of my favorite things to talk about, Disney World. We have some updates regarding all of the new lands coming to Disney World, Orlando, Florida. And this is close to my heart because Disney announced that Monsters, Inc. land is taking over Muppet's Courtyard, but the Muppets are still not going away because they're moving over to Sunset Boulevard and taking over Rock and Roller Coaster. So if you know me, I actually did the Disney College program and I worked in Muppet's courtyard. And so to me, it just kind of like hit me because I spent so much time here and it's like where I was assigned, like I was there all the time. But basically the new World of Monsters is going to have the new roller coaster with like the hanging doors, like a really cool, what's the word they use for it? It's like a roller coaster that they don't really have at Disney World because it's like, you know what I'm talking about. And they're going to have you dining, shopping, and a theater show. And then all the Muppets are moving over to take over Rock and Roller Coaster. And they're going to be teaming up with some of music's biggest stars for a big rock and music festival. And then if you've ever been to Hollywood Studios, specifically Muppets Courtyard, they have the Muppets 3D show that will be closing. In the surrounding areas like Pizza Rizzo, surrounding shops, and Mama Melrose Italian restaurants are also going to transform. Now, I worked at Mama Melrose. I was a hostess there, a seater, a greeter, whatever you want to call it. And so literally Mama Melrose, if you look out, like the Muppets Theater is right there. Like I worked in Muppets Courtyard. I was there daily and it just, I get that people and things and places and like Disney has to constantly evolve. And do I think Monsters Inc. might be a better fit and will attract more? Because I know not many people go to Muppets Courtyard and not many people go to see the 3D show. Like it's just not, you know, and especially like the restaurant I worked at, you know, it's kind of tucked in the corner. So you don't really know unless you're a real Disney person. But I think to me, it's just sad because that was like my area. And like I would look out every day and see the Muppets Theater and the statues and just like, it's sad because I was there so often. And it's like, what if they get rid of the restaurant and whenever I go back, it's not even going to be there. It's like I never, you know, it's just like, it's so weird to think about. But I guess, you know, things change. And the second part to this, I'm really upset that they are taking the Muppets to Rock and Roller Coaster. And if you've been on Rock and Roller Coaster, like it's a 0 to 60 in like 3 seconds. It's a crazy, crazy ride. And when they first announced that they were going to do a different theming to this, because it was Aerosmith, which just fit great with the theme, like the pre-show, everything, like one of my favorites besides Tower of Terror. And you know, everyone was like, oh, maybe they'll do like Hannah Montana, or maybe they'll do like something that more people, I don't know, like still rockin'. Not necessarily Hannah Montana, but something more, maybe like a new, different band. Like One Direction, someone said, like, I don't know. And the fact that they're doing it in Muppets, I don't know. I don't like it. Don't love it. But they did mention they're going to be teaming up with some of music's biggest stars. So maybe it'll be like, if you've seen the pre-show, maybe they'll have the Muppets and then have like rock stars with them kind of thing. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. Hopefully they make it still to be rockin'. Because it's like a crazy roller coaster. So like Muppets don't really fit the vibe. But yeah, kind of crazy. R.I.P. Muppets Courtyard and R.I.P. to the restaurant it worked at. So sad. But honestly, like, they don't really need to change the theming of my restaurant because it's an Italian restaurant and it's literally like, I don't know. Anyways, so that was kind of sad news, but I'm excited for that new ride. And I think, again, yes, it's not a very heavily populated area. So I guess they're just trying to make it more populated. Whatever. Okay, our next story is some concert news. Sabrina Carpenter, she arrested Domingo at her LA concert. And if you've seen the SNL skit with Domingo, I mean, he just went viral. It was the most watched SNL skit online after it aired. I mean, it's just so good. His character is so funny. And so in her recent concert in LA, she does this like bit where she'll arrest someone in the audience because they're so hot and then like sing a song. And so this time it was Domingo. So he was like in the audience, but like not in the audience, he was like basically just in the front, and he was just like, Sabrina, I'm here, in his accent, and then like re-sang his song kind of. It was just kind of funny because he like it was so viral on SNL, and then to see it at her concert, which her concerts are going viral as well, just like so funny seeing it all kind of connect and seeing him really embrace his character. And I love the whole Domingo like thing. I thought it was hilarious. Like it plays in my head all the time, his whole song, and then seeing him, the whole bit at her concert was just so funny. And I'm happy for him because I'm sure it was so cool for him to do this at a Sabrina Carpenter concert and really like embrace that Domingo is probably going to be his character and who he's known for the majority of his however long he'll be famous for and well known. So I'm happy for him. I thought it was really funny and just a cute little clip to see. And if you haven't seen the SNL clip, you have to watch it, and then you have to watch the Sabrina Carpenter clip where she arrests him, because it's really, really funny. All right. I also, oh my gosh, I noticed last week I said so many times. I need to quit, but it's just so easy to say and to say like. I can't help it, but I'm gonna really focus on not saying it. Okay. Our next story. Jason KELCE. He announced a new late night talk show that will be airing on ESPN. So this will premiere in January of 2025. The retired Philadelphia Eagles star will host They Call It Late Night with Jason KELCE on Friday nights and early Saturday mornings. They will be 1-hour episodes. They're going to highlight Jason talking about hot NFL topics and storylines and showcase the podcast host humor. The episodes will be filmed in front of a live audience of NFL fans at Union Transfer, which is in Philadelphia, and feature celebrity guests and the Philadelphia band Snack Time. I love the title. I love late night shows because I love just different celebrities going on late night shows, and I feel like we get to learn a lot more about them. And I love Jason KELCE. I think he does really, really well at being a very engaging person to listen to, and I think he'll do really well. Obviously, he is retired, but I love that he is now embracing this and being able to continue doing things that he loves and talking about, sports and the NFL, and I'm excited for him. I think this is going to be really, really great. I definitely will be tuning in to watch this because I think it will be insightful, especially like as a girl who tries to learn as much as she can about sports. I think it'll be fun to watch, and just the way he explains things too. I think I watched a couple of his podcast episodes, and some people can write in asking questions about football, things like that, and he explains it really well. Like he's a very well-spoken person. He's also very charismatic. However, we've talked about this before. I feel like he doesn't act as though he's a celebrity, if that makes sense. And I think this is going to put him, in a different realm of celebrity. And I think he needs to start acting more like it and not walking around in public places all the time, because I think this is a really big step for him in his career. But KELCE announced the show, and the title of it was inspired by NFL Film's first movie, They Call It Pro Football. And he said, I love late night talk shows. I remember sleepovers watching Conan O'Brien with my friends. We're going to have a bunch of guys up there, legends of the game, friends that I've played with, coaches, celebrities. And I'm excited. I think this will be really good. And I think this is going to get a lot of viewership because so many people obviously love Jason KELCE and, Swifties, all of that. But I think just in general, I think people love him and his wife and his family. Also, this wasn't a story this week, but him and Kylie are pregnant with their 4th baby, and they're going to be on their 4th baby girl, which I think is so special. I'm so excited for them, so happy. I think that is so sweet. And, he's clearly definitely a girl dad, and I'm so, so happy for him. And I think this is a really great step for him. I'm excited. I'm definitely going to be tuning in. And yeah, good for Jason KELCE. I'm very excited for this. Where did it say where we can watch it? It says this will begin January 4th. It's going to run for 5 weekends during the NFL playoffs. It will air on It will air on ESPN starting at 1 a.m. and then the 5th and final episode will air at 1:30. Okay, so 5 weekends. Maybe they'll see how it goes and then continue. We'll see. Anyway, looking forward to that. All right, some other celeb news. Post Malone has announced a stadium tour. And guess what? He's actually coming to Florida. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Posty. So he announced his biggest headlining tour to date, the Big Ass Stadium Tour, set to kick off in April of 2025. The 25 Stadium Tour will see Posty hit up places like Las Vegas, Atlanta, Chicago, Toronto, Miami, Orlando, New York City, and it will close out in San Francisco on July 1st. Joining the artists are Jelly Roll and Sierra Farrell on select dates. This stadium tour promises a set list filled with a mix of Post Malone's biggest hits, fan favorites, and brand new songs from his latest album, F1 Trillion. Pre-sale happened November 20th, and then tickets open November 26th, which I need to look at. I mean, he's going all over. He has a ton of dates, so I am so excited for this. I also love Jelly Roll, and I'm just so happy for him. Like, he really... I mean, I'm so excited. I think he's coming, so he'll be in Miami and then Orlando. He'll be at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami where the Dolphins play, Fins Up Baby, and then Camping World Stadium in Orlando. So fun. And, it says when Jelly Roll and Sierra will be there. So Jelly Roll is going to be performing in Miami and Arizona. Sierra is with him a lot more, so maybe he doesn't have all of Jelly Roll's dates. Without Jelly Roll and with Sierra. Okay, so Jelly Roll is only not at 2, so he's not going to Miami and not going to be in Arizona. And then Sierra is going to be at a majority of these. But it looks like Jelly Roll's at like every single one. Cool. I love this. So exciting. Okay, our next story. Anne Hathaway. We finally have our first casting of the Verity movie, and she will be starring in this movie adaptation. I am genuinely so excited for this movie. I think if you don't like Colleen Hoover or you're not a big reader, I still think everyone should read the Verity book because it is her best book by far, one of the best books I've personally read, and I don't love Colleen Hoover's books. I think I've read a couple of them, and I can't, but reading Verity, it's almost like someone else wrote it for her and she put it out because it's so good. I think I read it in 2 days, honestly. And then if you didn't know, so she writes the book, there's like a crazy ending, and then a little after she wrote the book, she came out with another chapter which like made your mind blow even more. And there's like sides of like, you just have to read it, but this is going to be such an amazing movie. And Anne Hathaway, let me see, because I don't remember if she's playing Verity or Lowen. Let me see. So Anne Hathaway, interesting. So she will be playing Verity, which she's not the main. Lowen's kind of the main girl. In my head, though, and let me know if you've read it and if you think of this, like, I always thought Rosamund Pike to be Verity. Like, 1000% that's who I pictured. And then for Lowen, I always thought Dakota Johnson because like that's just who I picture. I don't know who I would pick to play Jeremy because I don't know, but I always like had that thought in my head of like that's who Verity would be, and then Dakota would just make a perfect Lowen. But Anne Hathaway, I still think she'll do really well because she's a great actress, but let me know, like, if you've read it, what you kind of thought, who would play who, because I feel like we always, in our head, picture people reading our books, and then, you know, when they ended up get casted, it's kind of like, did you even read the book? Or are you just casting whatever famous people audition for it? Because I do think it's important when it comes to like movie adaptions to really read the book, see how the author is describing them, and kind of really making sure that that's portrayed in the movie. Otherwise, book fans are just going to hate the movie. And you know, never a good thing. But I'm so excited for the movie. I actually need to reread the book because I read it so long ago that I need to read it again just to make sure I know how it ends again and kind of get my thoughts together of, you know, what I hope to see in the movie. Maybe, honestly, though, I feel like sometimes it's best to just watch the movie and not read the book so close to it, because then you notice so many things that aren't in the movie, and it's like, seriously? Like, why would you not put that in there? But anyway, so that's exciting news. Okay, now we have our Dancing with the Stars semifinals. Oh my gosh, wait, no, I forgot to tell you guys. Okay, so I literally, this like shocked and blew my mind, and I was like, I have to share this on the podcast because this is just so crazy. But so my fiance, my husband and I, we got engaged in New York City a couple years back, and he proposed in front of this gorgeous tree that was near Rockefeller Center. And when we were planning our trip to go next month, I was like making a very detailed itinerary because I am the most type A person you will ever meet. I basically have every single store, every single window, every single light display I want to see. Everything is like labeled day-to-day itinerary for us. And I was like, I really want to stop by the tree that we got engaged at, but I didn't know the name of it. And so we went on like our camera, because I think iPhone will like kind of place a rough address of where a picture was taken. And so I kind of got an address, but on Google Maps, it was just like this building. It wasn't in December when all the lights and the trees were up. So I was like, okay, whatever, like we'll just try to figure it out. So then I'm online and I'm researching, you know, light displays and places to see during Christmas time in New York City. And I see this tree, and there's an article about it, and it says 1221 Avenue of the Americas Christmas tree. And I was like, this looks exactly like the Christmas tree that we got engaged at. So I click on this article, and it says, new Christmas tree appears during the holiday season. And it was put up, okay, are you guys ready for this? It was put up December 9th, 2022. We got engaged like not even a week after that, in 2022. So this tree was literally put up days before we got engaged, okay? So days before. And December 9th, that is the exact date we got married. The year after, we got married December 9th. So put up the same day we got married and days before we got engaged in New York City, the same year. I was like in shock that there was an article about it, and like I was just, that was the craziest thing I've ever seen in a long, long time. I was in shock, so I just had to share that because I was like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. And we didn't even know. And literally the day we picked for our wedding, the day the tree goes up. And if we got engaged any earlier, like where the tree wouldn't have been there. It was put up days before. So I just thought that was so crazy, and I screenshotted the article because I was like, this is like actually insane. But anyway, now that I shared that, we can get into our Dancing with the Stars recap. Semifinals, I'm actually like so sad because finals are Tuesday and then it's over. And I miss when they used to do 2 seasons a year. I really think they should bring that back, but I digress. All right, let's get into our 5 couples. They all did 2 different dances. First were Chandler and Brandon. They did a salsa, a lot of fun lifts. They're both great dancers. But I feel like it wasn't super exciting. I don't know. I think it's Brandon's choreography. I think if Chandler had a different partner, the choreography would like skyrocket for me. And we see a lot of, you know, when they do critique, sometimes it's like based off of Brandon's choreography, and like that's not a her issue. You know what I mean? I will say, anytime a judge made a comment, like Derek made a comment, their faces were just like so annoyed. And then when Carrie Ann made a comment, I think it's their attitudes, and that's why they're not my favorite, because it's just like the attitude that I don't like at all. And also, you guys, if you didn't watch this back when Len was a judge, they were tough. Like, they are just judging. And Carrie Ann is just judging. She's doing her job. She's doing what she's supposed to do. You can't have lifts in the Foxtrot, and they did have a lift. And so it's just kind of frustrating to me. Like, they are in the semifinals. She is an amazing dancer, and these judges are just judging people. Why are we mad at them doing their job? I don't get it. But they did get 2 10s and a 9 for both dances that they did. But it's just their attitudes towards the judges and just the, like, I don't want to say the cockiness, but that's kind of what they're giving, and it's very frustrating to me, and I don't like the attitudes they have. And that's my issues with them. So anyway, next, Joey and Jenna, they did a foxtrot. They got 3 10s. He just, I swear, gets better every week. I don't think he's had one dance or dance style that he sucked at or done bad. And so it's just like they're easy to watch. And then the Paso Doble, they got a 10 and 2 9s. The choreography was so good. Like, he looked so amazing. They glide along the floor and they just do really well together. And I was really happy for them. Alona and Alan, the Paso Doble dance is so for her. I was like, this is the hottest dance I've ever seen. I loved her. They got 2 9s and a 10, which I was so upset, but it's okay. I did get chills on this dance. I think I got chills for 2 or 3 of these dances, and I was like shocked. I was like, what? But you can just see, like, she has grown so much as a dancer. From the first dance, like, you could tell she was so nervous, and just her confidence now, I think, is just so amazing. The waltz, I also got chills with this one too. I wrote down I got chills. 2 10s and a 9. I wish she got 3 10s, but you could so tell that they were just like dancing with each other and having fun with each other, and I just love watching them every single week, and she has really impressed me. I think she's just done so well. Danny and Whitney, they did a waltz, 3 9s. One thing about Whitney, and again, this goes back to just like, I really think a lot of it has to do with the pros choreography. She always tells a story with her dances, and I really appreciate that. I love when there's a clear like storyline of a dance, and it just makes it so much more fun to watch. And I feel like it makes us at home feel something, and so good. I did get chills on the dance as well. I think I would always know if I got chills on the dance. And then the cha-cha, I thought that was so good. You couldn't even tell who the pro was when they were all dancing together. Like, I thought it was so good, and they got 3 9s. He's been getting a lot of hate online, and I'm just like, you do it. You get on the stage and do it, you idiots. Like, seriously. Oh my gosh. Riley and Steven, the cha-cha, it was a lot of fun. Obviously, he did have a few mess ups, so he did get 2 8s and then a 9. My thing, I really do think that Riley is pushing the choreography, because there was a lot going on, and it was really fast. And from the beginning, he's had timing issues, so I think Riley was pushing him too much, and I think she could have scaled back the choreography a little bit, and he would have done a lot better. That's just my opinion, though. And then the tango, a 10 and 2 9s, which I don't think he should have gotten the 10 because there was a few mess ups. But anyway, I did like the tango. He was a little ahead at times, and obviously the glasses, like, it was just so frustrating. Like, I felt so bad for him because last week was really his week, and then this week it was just kind of like, it was upsetting. But I still love them. I really think it's her choreography was just like, it's a lot. But I am like so insanely excited for next week's freestyles. I know we've seen pictures online of Stephen O'Reilly's. They have the like, is it the pommel bar or pommel horse, whatever his sport is, they have that. Danny and Whitney, one of the songs they're doing is I'm Just Ken, which is like picture perfect. I am so excited for that one. I'm just excited. I think it's going to be a really great episode. And I know people were hating that they sent every couple to the finale, but I'm happy with it because I was going to be upset. And I'm glad that, you know, every one of the 5 couples, they made it to the finale. It's not like they're going to miss a week of dancing. They're all going to get to dance at the finale together, dance with their partners one more time. And you know what? Whoever wins, wins. I'm going to be happy with any outcome. They're all in the finale. It was a great season, and just, it's going to be sad when it's over. But those are all of our stories for today. I know, so next week is Thanksgiving. I'm not sure if we will have an episode next Saturday. We might. It'll be a TBD. But if not, then I will see you guys in freaking December, which is insane. And we're going to go into 2025 together, and I'm so very excited for it. I'm going to be literally turning 25 in like a couple months. I'm terrified, literally terrified, but I'm just excited to see what is to come in 2025 with us in this podcast. And make sure that, again, you're following the Instagram following the TikTok. Subscribe to the YouTube, give it a thumbs up, and then if you're listening to this, just hit the little 5 stars. It really means a lot, and every single thing helps me out as well. So I just appreciate you guys so much. And yeah, I hope everyone has an amazing Thanksgiving if I don't talk to you before then, and that you just have fun with your family, eat a lot of good food. And yeah, love you guys so much, and I will see you next time for some more hot gossip, hot take, stories, and advice that will have you saying literally what? Bye, guys.